Well, hello and welcome to my world. Welcome to Talk Leadership with Cedrick. You know, everybody needs a little TLC, and I am Cedrick LaFleur, your host tonight for Talk Leadership with Cedrick. And, you know, this is where we focus on leadership and personal growth with business leaders, educators, and local thought leaders. Our goal is to introduce our audience to leaders who are making an impact with innovative ideas. You know, our guiding leadership principle is the law of contribution, which says growing yourself enables you to grow others. See, you can't give what you don't have. So you must first grow yourself in order to grow others. We believe that outstanding leaders like yourself will help us to help others. So tonight, folks, we have another dynamic leader with us. And, you know, every week I like to do a proper introduction of my guests. And so let me do a proper introduction of our esteemed guest tonight. And his name is Mr. Darryl Rivers. Welcome, Darryl.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Awesome. I'm excited that you're here. So let me introduce Darryl. Darryl Rivers, Darryl L. Rivers is a national human behavior, communication, and leadership speaker and trainer. See, to accompany his 24 years of government service in both the United States military and as a law enforcement professional, he is a psychology major with multiple certifications in human behavior analytics, emotional intelligence, and neuro-linguistic programming, accelerated learning, and he is a communications and body language expert. His law enforcement experience ranges from the Detroit Police Department to the state of Arizona, where he functioned as a detective, a sergeant, and a lead special agent of the state's Office of the Attorney General, and as a hostage negotiator. Now, you can always use a good hostage negotiator. After his law enforcement, his retirement from law enforcement, Darryl started his own speaking and training business called The Lead Company. One of the assignments he's revered for and that he's very, very proud of is his work with the Arizona Department of Economic Security. There, he was contracted to engineer the creation of an internal security unit. Now, get this, folks. He was hired to recruit, hire, interview, hire, train, create policy, and supervise a statewide unit covering over 200 individual locations while maintaining his other clients from all across the nation. Darryl has established himself as a sought-after public speaker and trainer in both government and business circles. He is an executive director on the John Maxwell team, and he has been personally mentored by John Maxwell himself. He has a unique, humorous, yet intellectual delivery to his training that puts him in high demand across the nation. So let's welcome Mr. Darryl L. Rivers to the show.
Thank you, man. It's good to be here. I'm excited about it. I follow you, Cedrick, and I tell you what, man, I really appreciate the work that you're doing and all of the value that you're adding to everyone that follow you and people who know you. So right on.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for following, and we're friends on Facebook. We're friends outside of Facebook, and I like seeing you. You all look. If you follow Darryl, you're gonna notice that he's always on a plane somewhere. So, he's a man of action. You see, it's sort of like the Book of Acts. When the Book of Acts is called Acts for a reason, because it's about action. See, it's not react. It's action. See, so the same thing. And Paul's a great leader in the book of Acts, and this is what we're talking about with Darryl, a man of action. So Darryl, you know, I read your bio and some of the things that you've been doing, but help our leaders understand your journey to leadership, because there's a lot more that I didn't read, right? That's in your bio that's got you to where you are today.
Right on. Man, I think that sometimes we'll try to pick where we want to lead or how we want to lead, and other times situations pick us. And I feel as though many situations in the beginning of this leadership journey were just picking me. And I was 18 years old. I was in the United States Navy, and we just graduated boot camp. We were going to what we call apprenticeship school. And I was an aviation guy, so I had to go to aviation apprenticeship. Now, there were lots and lots of people that were going to school for various things, and we were all in the same barracks. It was like maybe 400 or 500, just fresh out of boot camp. I mean, we still smelled like push-ups there. I mean, we fresh out of boot camp, man. And you got that. I had that boot camp body. I've been running and push-ups and everything like that. And here I'm an 18-year-old kid. And they said, all right, you're going to be the leader of the entire barracks. You're responsible for the cleanliness, make sure everybody goes on break, everything that goes on in the barracks. Here I am, 18 years old. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know anything about leadership at all. And they put me in charge. And for 3 weeks, I had to ensure that everybody cleaned their barracks rooms, everybody's bed was made, that they cleaned outside, everybody was in formation at a certain time so the chief will come. And here I am, and my whole thing was, I don't know what I'm doing. And what I feel as though with that approach to it, I wouldn't like, oh yeah, I got picked, I don't have to clean anything, I can sit back and supervise everyone. My whole thing was, I don't know what I'm doing, and they're going to know I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm going to feel so small because everyone's going to know I don't know what to do. And that was my approach. I don't know what I'm doing, So that has been my journey as far as just the beginning of it, is approaching things like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm definitely not going to turn down this opportunity.
Yeah.
And in going in that, I believe that I've taken on certain assignments whereas I'm like, I have no idea how this is going to work, but I know I'm going to work. I don't know how it's going to work. I know I'm going to work. And that was from the military. I remember when I promoted in the military, I was like, I was 21 years old and I'm in charge of the ordnance shop. I used to build bombs in the military. And I had guys that were 30 years old in my unit and I'm their supervisor. Now, I don't have any life experience. I'm not, you don't get the stripes and all of a sudden you're like Neo on the Matrix, like, I know Kung Fu. No one downloads anything, right? So right. I'm like, I know how to build all of these ordinances and I know how to put them on the airplanes. I know how to check the weapon systems. But when it comes to leading these individuals who are older than me, they're more seasoned, they have more life experience, I don't know what I'm doing. And that was my approach. I don't know how this is going to work, but I know I'm going to work. Yes. So when it comes to that journey, man, that's what I constantly, I don't know how this is going to work. I know I'm going to work. And I just really put it to the test. And ultimately, I retired from my law enforcement career and I began to start a business. And guess what? I spent all of my adult life as a government guy. And I started a business. You know what I said? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything about starting a business or anything like that, So I joined the John Maxwell team and I learned the business building tools and everything like that, man. And I think just a little bit, I know a little bit about what I'm doing now, but I still take on assignments towards I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I approach it from that perspective. And it really has helped me out with staying grounded.
Awesome. Well, I like that what you said. I put that up on the screen. I don't know how this will work, but I know I will work.
There you go.
That's going to be motivation. That's going to be inspiration for somebody tonight.
Right on.
I love that. So, you're in this leadership development world, but then you've carved out a niche in this leadership development space. So what's your niche, your space that you're just like, that's my sweet spot right here?
I'll tell you what I know. As I said before, sometimes we think we pick our sweet spots, but actually our sweet spots pick us.
Yeah.
I really was heavy into the whole leadership instruction. I wanted to instruct leadership. Then I got all of these certifications in human behavioral analytics. And I found I was in huge demand for my my cognitive leadership and cognitive communication courses than I was with just this is how you lead people courses. And I began to realize that my sweet spot, because I was a hostage negotiator, and I thought I was pretty good at it. But yet I didn't realize that most of my instruction when it comes to leadership, I approach it from a understanding human beings perspective. So in actuality, I was under the umbrella of teaching leadership, but for the most part, I'm teaching human behavior and how to understand another human being to influence them to do what needs to get done. And I'm sure we've all heard of this. You have your bachelor's of science, you have your bachelor's of arts. Your science is the technical stuff, your art is the theory, right? So right. I would come with particular leadership philosophies and everything like that, but I really wasn't a leadership science guy. I was a theory guy. But when it came to cognition and how the brain works, I was so scientific with it. And I began to be in high demand for the behavioral analytics side of my instruction, and still on a leadership platform though. So my true niche is in the cognitive communication side, but with law enforcement and government. I would say 85% of my clients are law enforcement and government.
Law enforcement and government. And so, and that's actually pretty awesome right there, right? So working with law enforcement, obviously, I know that's been your background, but, for people that don't work in the law enforcement space, how do you use this cognitive behavior in law enforcement?
Oh, great. Okay, so let's talk about this, right? I have a class called The Science of Decision Making, Understanding Biases and Public Perception. So let's just say that I'm not fully aware of my biases, and I'm not aware of all of the things that I encounter on a daily basis causes me or develop certain biases within me. So when I'm teaching this cognitive behavioral analytics and all of these things to law enforcement, I let them know, look, every single human being that walks the face of this earth has biases. Yours are magnified because your biases affects the freedom of other people. Teachers have biases, doctors have biases, sports players have biases. Everyone has them. It's just that your biases, our biases, the collective law enforcement community biases are being magnified right now. So therefore, since they're being magnified in the communities and in the media, we need to magnify them within our own rankings so we can understand them. So let's just say that I'm the cop and I pull an individual over, and guess what? They're playing my favorite song. They're driving my favorite car. And when I get up to them, they're wearing the cap of my favorite sports team. Guess what? I like that person. Without me knowing I like that person, all of the little biases that I have are going to direct me to like that person. Okay. And more than likely, they might not get a ticket. Now it's three things that our brains do. It's involuntary. You can't change it. It's part of deep within our limbic system of our brain. Number one, when I encounter another human being, my brain says, is that person a threat or are they not a threat? I don't think about that. My brain actually does it without me thinking about it. The number two thing that happens, and Cedrick, this is not Darryl L. Rivers theory, this is scientifically proven, is that person sexually compatible with me? And this is why when we see people, we're like, is that a guy or a girl? We do it all the time. We say, okay, is that a sir or a ma'am or whatever? And it's not anything that, oh, well, this person is this way or that way. And why we do that, it's a natural thing that our brains do. We can't change that. And then number three, after, is that person a threat? Am I compatible with this person? Do I like them? Those three things happen within milliseconds. And then it sends that information up to the higher cortex. And once it gets to the higher cortex, we try to reason why we like or dislike that person. Now, those biases, which we call heuristics, and I'm not going to get into the whole instruction of it, but those biases play And is that person a threat? Is that person compatible? And do I like them? Because we all have certain biases, and we figure those things out, and we put them in one of these two categories, and we try to make sense of why we like or dislike. So that's why when you meet people, like, I don't know what it is, man, I just like that person. Yeah, your subconscious mind told you it, and you say, I don't know what it is, because you can't make sense of it. Or I'm not vibing with that person. I don't know what it is. It's the energy of it's cognitive, subconsciously, we've already decided whether we like or dislike a person. In the law enforcement arena, I caution individuals, there's going to be people that you're going to naturally like. Your brain is going to say, hey, I like this person. Those are the people that can possibly hurt you because you let your guard down. Right. And then at times, based on whatever conditioning we may have, your brain's going to say, I don't know if I like this person. They might be a threat. And you are more aggressive towards that person. You don't know why, because you don't understand it cognitively. So it's important for our law enforcement communities to understand that, not only when it comes to dealing with individuals out on the street, but in leading other people as well. Who do you promote? Who do you put in certain positions? Who is the face of your department? Which ones do you put on that billboard to say we're hiring? All of that stuff matters because we've already made a decision who we like and dislike.
Right. Yeah, that's deep, and that's awesome. I really like that. And for the reason why I was asking you that question, Darryl, is because there are a lot of people that are going to watch this live. There are people that are going to watch this later in the replay, and they see you having success in the law enforcement arena. But what I want people to understand is what you said earlier is you're dealing with human behavior, right? And their cognitive thinking process, right? And whether they're working in a school, whether they want to work in a Fortune 500 company, whether they want to work at a restaurant, whether they want to work in a car dealership, they want to work at the local lanyard. Not lanyard, but the the dump site. Landfill, right? They're dealing with people.
Yes,
and the same types principles and concepts you're talking about. It's the same thing that they can use and talk about to help people understand how to be a better person, how to be a better leader, right?
Absolutely, 100% solid on that.
Yeah, awesome. So, what do you think separates your business, the lead company, from other organizations that are out there in the leadership development space? Not that yours is good, better, or worse, or anything like this, or there's a worse or anything like this, but what's the differentiation? Everybody has a differentiation.
I completely agree. I believe that what makes a company different is how you feel about it. For instance, I'll give you an example. I remember when I was applying for sergeant, and they asked me the question, why do you want to promote? And I know that there's checklists where I want to lead people, I want to make a difference, I want to serve the community, all of those generic answers that are on their list for me to check. And I knew those check boxes were there, Cedrick. I knew they were there because I sat on the other side of the table hiring people in there. I knew exactly what to say, but what the answers that they were looking for were not the answer that was in my heart. So I couldn't follow along with the program. I didn't say anything concerning what they were looking for. I told my truth. And my truth was this: I absolutely 100% love my job. There are other people here that want to promote because they don't like doing traffic stops. They don't like going to domestic violence. They don't like the barking dog calls. They don't like dealing with all the complaints. So therefore, they want to promote so they don't have to do something they don't like. And ultimately, they're going to supervise something and lead something that they don't like. And I want to promote while I still love it, because then I'm going to lead something I truly love. And people who follow me will know that I love them and I love what they do. That's how I view my business. I love what they do. And if I could still do it, I would. And they feel it. Like I don't look, I am not instructing law enforcement because I don't want to be in law enforcement. I'm instructing law enforcement because that's my dream job. I did it all of my adult life. and I probably would still be doing it. I end up getting wrist injuries fighting with a armed robbery suspect, and I had reconstructive surgery on my hand. So I retired at the age of 38. I would probably still be doing that job right now had I not got injured. So when I'm instructing from a point of, I love what you guys are doing. Yeah, you're under scrutiny and everything like that. When you do the job the right way, you're commendable. When you do the job the wrong way, you need to get the heck out of here. And I'm speaking from a perspective of, if I can be in your shoes, this is how business would be handled. Since I can't be in your shoes, allow me to pour my heart out from my experiences that can add value to our community. Yeah. That's what makes me different.
I absolutely love that. And let me tie something into this. This is just an education piece for the audience, folks. Here's what I want you to, I love 100% of what you said. And one of the things that Darryl said, reading in between the lines. See, you're either running from something or you're running to something.
Yes.
You see? And when you're running from something, you're going to get eaten up by the lion. See, the lion's chasing you, so you're running from it. Right? When you're running to something, you're going to eat because you're excited about it. Right? And when the lion gets that gazelle, he's going to eat, and the lion knows also his family is going to eat. You see? Right. And when you're running to your business because it's something that you love, you're going to eat, and your family's going to eat because you're going to do well at it, and people are going to hire you, and they're going to bring you in, and you're going to get better at it, and you're going to make the companies that you work with better.
Yes.
Because you're running to it.
Yes.
And that's the difference, folks, right there.
That's good. That's good. I love that. When you're running towards it, when you're chasing it, you're going to eat in your family. I love that, man. That's so good. That's so good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for putting that out there. And I just wanted to touch that teaching point. But tonight is not about me. Tonight is about Darryl L. Rivers. Right? So what makes you smile when you get, now you're always smiling. Every time I see you, you're always smiling, right? But what makes you smile when you get up in the morning?
Man, honestly, when I wake up, I like who I am. I'll be honest with you. That wasn't always the case. I didn't like who I was. I realize I'm grateful for what I have because I realize I know I can have less because I have had less. You know, I'll be honest with you. This is not a brag. Okay. Sometimes the decision I make is which pair of Ferragamos I'm going to wear today. Okay. Like for real. That's the time, right? When before said, I kid you not, I used to wake up and saying, how am I going to eat? How am I going to eat? Man, this place I'm living in, it doesn't have any heat. How am I going to stay warm? You know, those were questions. Now my questions are completely different, and I love the problems that I have. And I can't even say it's a problem. I love the decisions that I have to make, as opposed to the decisions that I used to have to make. And I look at when people say, "What's your greatest accomplishment?" Dude, it is nothing. Right on, Kendrick. I'm gonna answer that question soon, Kendrick. When people ask me what is your greatest accomplishment, Cedrick, I've won the Medal of Valor, the highest thing you can win as a police officer. I've won Officer of the Year. I have tons and tons of awards, and I've done a lot of cool stuff, I think, in my life. None of that has scratched the surface of what my greatest accomplishment. My greatest accomplishment, I feel, was progressing to the person that I want to be, coming from where I came from. That's my greatest accomplishment, because I see so many people that had so much more and end up being stuck in that poverty-stricken family dynamic and everything like that, because I started very far behind the start line. And you know what? Man, it feels good to just be on the track and be running and not back there anymore. That's my greatest accomplishment, man. That's why I smile every day.
Well, that's awesome. But that goes to, Darryl, though, that goes to your mindset as well, right? Because you could have things that's going wrong or things that's not going as good as you want, and you could still then let that burden you down versus focusing on all the good things that are happening to you every day.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So let's answer that question for Kenrick.
When am I coming back to bed with Cedrick? I have a contract in Harrisville, Missouri. I know that's probably near the border of Illinois where you are, brother. I think that I'll be seeing you, man. It's March 1st through the 5th. I got a 5-day contract in Missouri, which I believe is right next to your city, man. So if that's the case, man, I gotta slide on over there and make it happen, man.
Awesome. See, Kenrick, we try to answer questions here too.
Now, Cedrick came out to see me. I had a contract in his city. I think it was like 2 years ago, man. So I put it out there. Hey, I'm in this area. Who's out? And Cedrick was there, man. He came out and hung out with me during a little break and everything like that, man. It's always good to see my brothers, man.
Well, that's awesome. Kenrick is definitely a guy that loves to show support. Talking about a servant leader type.
Yes.
Kendrick is one of those.
And he got cool hats.
Yeah. So all right. So Kendrick started it. Now here's Ken Noble.
Dallas, probably Monica and I are going to be coming up there probably around Valentine's Day because she wants to spend my money at a mall up there. So Kid, it'll be soon, brother. It'll be soon. Like sooner than you think. Probably in about 3 weeks.
Awesome. So, we've had a lot of disruption in 2020 around, COVID and all that dynamics. How is your business? How was your business positioned to make it through that, and how you're positioned to make it through the next big disruption?
Okay, that's a great question because I'm gonna be transparent with you. In the beginning, my business wasn't set up to deal with it. It had to be a major adjustment. I lost a lot of opportunities the first few months of COVID. Luckily, I had some savings and I didn't drown. But man, I lost a lot of contracts. The adjustment was online content. So what I have found was that in law enforcement, well, I have already known this, but I wasn't mindful of it. So for those of you who are looking for law enforcement contracts, please know this. Law enforcement has to have a certain number of training hours in order to maintain certifications. Okay, that's for law enforcement. That's in the medical field. That's in a couple of different fields.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, I see that she said your money.
I'm glad you said that, Monica.
She said it, right? So she was like, oh, yeah, we want that contract. Oh, okay, we can go ahead and get this with that. I'm like, okay, all right.
Oh, man.
Man, look at that. Say, how you get fired on your day off? Like, oh, man, that's too funny.
But so you're saying that you weren't positioned at first, and then law enforcement has to have.
Yeah, they have to have a certain amount of training hours. and with those training hours, now you're looking at that and you say, okay, well, no one's doing training right now. They're not going to seminars. They're not going to classes. They're not assembling all together. So now what I need to do is put together curriculum, put it online, and get it certified with that state. Now, after I get it certified with that state, guess what? Hey, well, we need training hours. I have training hours for you. Hey, we can go ahead and do a 4-hour block here, a 4-hour block there, and a 4-hour block here. And you have your 12 training hours for the year, and you maintain your certification, and you get good training at the same time. So what was happening was that people were putting out trainings online, but they weren't certified with that particular state in order to get their training hours. So once that had went down, it's kind of like, okay, well, let's go ahead and see if we can certify some courses and get them listed as training hour certified. And then all of a sudden, you just market it and people will pick it up. They're like, okay, well, yeah, this is going to work. Let's make that happen. So I end up having to do that. and make that adjustment.
Wow. Well, it's glad that you were able to make that adjustment, and so you should be ready for the next big disruption, right?
Absolutely.
I was training some folks, and well, no, I was actually putting together a presentation because we're going to be doing some training for some folks and talking about a study that Ken Blanchard Group did back late last year, and they put it out this year, earlier this month, and talking about the leadership development space and how it's changed during this COVID environment. And it's a great study in what they talk about, and how 85% of people in the leadership development space who they surveyed had switched from in-person training to virtual training. Well, I'm sorry, it was the people who were getting clients who were getting leadership development training. 85% of them switched from in-person training to virtual training.
Right.
But the people that's in the leadership development space have to catch up. Having this online stuff, and I was one of those people as well, because I just believed in making mine all in person, right? Just because it was more interactive and engaging and all that type stuff, right?
And I'll tell you what, it is. I feel a difference. I'll be honest with you. Sitting in front of a computer and talking versus being in a room with live human beings, completely different dynamic. I flow more natural when I feel the energy in the room. I'm looking at body language. I'm seeing, all of those things, and it's easier to connect for me. I'm not saying for everyone. I'm saying for me. I'm currently, so in case I'm in Corpus Christi, Texas right now, teaching a week-long session on hostage negotiations, and I'm certifying individuals to be negotiators. And we were talking to say, well, hey, what happens when you have to negotiate with someone face to face? I'm like, dude, it's gold, because you get to not only read their body language, but you get to display it, which actually gives you a higher level of communication versus just sitting on the phone. Yeah, it has its disadvantages, yes, negotiating face to face, but it's something about that face to face communication that brings out a whole nother dynamic and effectiveness in communication.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, we have a segment on this show, Darryl, that we call Would You Rather? Right? So okay. we're gonna play just a segment of Would You Rather. They're not anything difficult or hard or anything like this, so don't worry.
It might not be difficult or hard for you, Cedrick. I don't know if I don't know how to do this, but we're gonna see how this works.
All right. So, would you rather have a life rewind button or a life pause button?
Life pause.
Life pause. All right. Would you rather no one show up at your wedding or no one show up at your funeral?
No one show up at my funeral.
All right. Would you rather be an adult your whole life or a kid your whole life?
Man, let me tell you why that's a good question. Because I didn't like my childhood. So, wait. If I had a great childhood, I'd love to be a kid all of my life.
Okay. All right. Would you rather have to drink all your beverages from a huge bucket or from a baby bottle?
Huge bucket.
I was hoping you said baby bottle, because I would say, Monica, go buy him a baby bottle. Then take pictures.
Oh, she would take pictures too. She would take pictures, no doubt.
Okay, all right. Couple more. See, I told you these would be easy, right? Would you rather have a camera as your eyes or a sound recorder as your ears?
Sound recorder as my ears.
Okay, all right. Would you rather be best friends forever with your favorite celebrity or date your celebrity crush for only 2 years?
Man, come on. I got best friend.
After I was into it, I was like, okay.
I know.
I was too far into it.
Yeah, come on, man.
Let me change that. See, I don't pick these beforehand, but I was into it. I was like, okay, all right. So, would you would you rather be a ninja or a pirate?
A ninja, of course.
Okay, all right. Last one. Would you rather have, and I probably should let Monica pick this one, but would you rather have $1 million in Amazon gift cards or $100,000 in real money?
Amazon gift cards.
Amazon gift cards. All right.
I'll just sell them for $1 million and have $1 million. I'll sell it for $900,000. And you know, hey, I'm thinking about business, huh? How about this? I'll sell it for $500,000. $500,000 cash. I'm telling you, man. If you ask Monica that, she would definitely say, "Oh yeah, get those gift cards.
Get those gift cards.
I'm gonna slang those gift cards. You know, we're gonna make it happen."
Oh man! Now you know Monica's gonna ask you that question when you get home. It's like, what was you gonna answer that?
Gonna look at no. What's gonna happen is this, right? She's gonna say, "Oh yeah, so those gift cards, are they gonna be your gift cards?" Oh my God, man! You know how that
goes. So you know, Darryl, leaders come in all different types of packages with different strengths, right? So what strengths, give us, 2 or 3 strengths. What strengths do you believe are most important for successful leaders?
Wow. The ability to listen beyond what you want to hear. That is major. Because sometimes when we ask questions, I believe that we want to hear what we want to hear. And that's why we ask the question, because we want a particular answer. But yet when you ask that question and it's not something you want to hear, you still have to be able to have the same curiosity, enthusiasm, and desire to understand the answer just as much as when it is exactly something you want to hear. That is paramount. Another is the ability to get out of your judgment zone. I feel that the reason why a lot of leaders do not have good communication with individuals that they lead, or individuals that they have the opportunity to influence, is because they produce an atmosphere to where individuals feel as though judgment is afoot. So if I'm in a judgment-free zone, not saying a consequence-free zone, but a judgment-free zone, I give people room to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Give people room to grow, you know what I'm saying? Your whole team gets better. Your whole team gets better. And thirdly, is I like to call this, I don't know, it is, I've termed it a couple of different ways. Strategic accountability.
Oh.
So when there is something that goes south and it needs to be addressed, okay, how you address it will determine how they're going to respond, recover, rebuild, and continue to follow you. So sometimes I have found in my previous times that I really avoided conflict because I wanted people to like me. I'll be transparent. Okay. I wanted people to like me. And I think it had a lot to do with my childhood because, I grew up poor and, kids are cruel, man. They'll talk about you and all you want to do is, I just want to be liked. I want to be normal and everything like that. Mm-hmm. Right. So we want to be liked. So we grow up and we have this thing to where we want to be liked. So early on in my leadership journey, I wanted to be liked. So I didn't address certain things at times. And certain things went on, which were my responsibility to fix. But I felt if I tried to fix them with the individual, it was going to cause a rift. So therefore, I wasn't holding people accountable to a certain standard that I had. Then when I began to realize that, okay, not only am I damaging them, I'm damaging myself, I'm damaging the whatever it is that I'm involved in, because I recognize things need to happen, but yet I'm not holding people accountable. And at this point, it comes to, okay, how do I hold them accountable and at the same time still hold them close? But sometimes when it comes to accountability, No one really understands, or we generally don't feel as though accountability is a hug, right? We feel like accountability is a shove and not a hug. And one of the things I learned and I'll tell you what, in nonprofit leadership, Cedrick, was that I would say this all the time: the closer you are to me, the more I'm going to expect from you.
Yeah.
And the reason why that is because you have the ability and the opportunity to learn me better than anyone else. So therefore, if you know me better than anyone else, you should be able to show me better than anyone else. And in understanding that, it's a strategic accountability. You hold them accountable before you have to hold them accountable. This is what is going to be expected. Look, if you know that this is the style that we have, if you know that this is where the organization is going, if you know that, I used to say this all the time as a sergeant on the police department, our squad will be the gold standard for what law enforcement means in this city. I say it all the time. Our squad is the gold standard for what our squad will be the gold standard for what law enforcement means in the city. And whenever something would happen that didn't meet that, I would ask the question, man, you know better. Okay, so let me ask you this question. Would that be considered the gold standard for what law enforcement means in this city? And it's kind of like, well, no. Okay, so what is it that we need to do to not have this happen again? Because you and I both know that that's not acceptable. Or I can just say, don't do that again. I'm going to write you up.
Right.
So I will call it strategic accountability. So I like the idea of giving individuals a reputation to live up to. Not saying you didn't live up to this, and I'm going to give you a reputation before you earn it.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a 10.
I'm going to give you a 10.
Before you earn it. Yeah.
Cedrick, imagine this, right? Let's say we're in a restaurant. The restaurant is crowded. It's packed, right? And we pretty much know it's going to take a while for us to get service, right? Me and you hanging out, and I say, Cedrick, how about this, man? Let's just give this waitress a $30 tip, this waiter a $30 tip right now before we even get a glass of water, before I even get to sniff the ice. Let's go ahead and give them a $30 tip and say, excuse me, sir, ma'am, whichever one. I truly believe that you're going to give our table really good service today. And just to show you, I'm going to pay for it. I'm going to go ahead and give you this $30 tip right now, because I truly believe that even though it's busy out here and all of this kind of stuff, you're going to give us A1 service. I don't want to be one of those people who are complaining or anything like that. I want to applaud you, and let me applaud you before you even earn it. Guess what? Man, my cup will never go dry.
Right.
I'm giving that person a strategic accountability. You know what I'm saying? So that person, now I put them in a position to hold themselves accountable, because I've given them a reputation to live up to. This is going to be the gold standard for whatever it is. And they begin to hold themselves accountable.
Yes, I absolutely love that. Holding people that are close to you accountable. And I like the way you said it. The closer you are to me, the more I'm going to hold you accountable, and putting that 10 on somebody else's head and helping them reach up to that standard that you put them there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome. This is good stuff. So, folks, this is why you're tuned in, right? Because we're going to bring in people that's way smarter than me, that's going to be able to help deliver the goods and help give you some things that you can use every day, whether you are a nurse, you are a doctor, you are a salesperson, you are in leadership development space, you are in food and nutrition, you are a sanitation worker, you are no matter what you're doing. These things you can use because you're going to be working with other people, other human beings, right? Absolutely love this. So, Darryl, good leaders ask great questions. So what are some great questions, a couple that maybe either you asked or someone asked of you and you say, man, that's a great question.
Wow. I've had a couple of them. I I'll tell you this though, Cedrick, man. So far, man, everything was great, man. It's one fail though that I can say that happened. You said you want to bring in people smarter than you, man. Today you failed at that, man. So
come on now. Come on now.
I love you, brother, but I'm saying, you know, hey, I don't know if you really accomplished your goal with that.
The audience can see that just by your responses. You know, when I'm the guest. So the first show of this year, I had the former corporate president of our division interviewed me on the show, right?
Uh-huh.
And I think we had like 2 people watching. So look here, we got a lot of people on here watching you tonight. So there you go.
All right, man. You built the audience. You built the audience, man. But no, one of the questions that really hit me, I mean, like super hit me, man, was if you failed to maximize yourself in your generation, what would the world miss out on? And oh my God.
Wow.
That hit me. And I began to just apply that if I failed to maximize myself. And I would say that in certain situations, if I failed to maximize myself in this current position, what would this agency miss out on? What would this organization miss out on? If I fail to maximize myself with the people I lead, what will they miss out on? And man, that is such a challenging question.
Yeah.
You know, and every time you have to reevaluate that.
Yes.
So yeah, man, that question right there, it stumped me when it was put to me. You know, if you fail to maximize yourself and your generation, what would the world miss out on? And oh my God, I just like, wow. I said, I got to come back with you on that when no, for real. I was like, man, you know, wow.
I love that question. I'm gonna have to use that question, Darryl, because that's a really good question.
Yeah. Another question that someone asked me is not what do you want, but it's more like, what do you want to want you? Oh man, I was like, oh my God, that is so good. And then I began to answer and say, so what are you going to do to make yourself desirable to where those things want you? And man, it was like, man, I mean, you talk about getting hit up on the ropes and you bobbing and weaving, man, because those were like I think those few questions were ones that I consistently will ponder on and consider because they're timeless.
Yes.
You know, those are timeless questions.
Yeah, those are really good questions. I'm going to definitely have to use those. Those are good. So, you know, a lot of times, Darryl, entrepreneurs want to give up. They want to throw in the towel because maybe things are not going the way that they thought it was going to go, or it's not going as fast as they wanted it to go. Right. What advice would you give them right now with that question? And before you answer that, I want to make sure that we're looking tuned right into this camera, because there are some people that are listening right now, but there are going to be some people that are going to listen to this later. And I want them to understand that you're talking to them, whether it's 2:00 in the morning on a Saturday when they listen to this, or it's tonight at 10 o'clock, or it's next week at 4:00 in the afternoon. I want them to hear what you're going to say, why they shouldn't give up.
Well, number one, if your uniform isn't dirty, that indicates that you've been sitting on the bench and you didn't play. You know, this is in this game. If you're on the field, you will get tackled. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If your uniform isn't dirty, you're not playing. You're a spectator. Yeah. You know, so I'll tell you what. Oh man, you know, sometimes you just get tackled. But guess what? Just because you get tackled doesn't mean that the game is over. You're going to get hit. You're going to get tackled. That is absolutely, positively, 100% part of the game. And if you're not failing at something, it's because you're not trying anything new. Point blank. So understand, as I said before, I would say, I don't know how to do that. I would say it all the time. The thing is this though, what I know for a fact, When we fail at something we don't know how to do, we take it differently than when we fail at something that we think we know how to do. So, and understanding that concept, because there's certain things, Cedrick, I thought I knew. This is going to be the bomb. I'm good at this. I got it going on. And man, I failed in it. And oh my God, it hit me different. It hit me different because now I'll tell you what it is. It's a 3-letter word, EGO. Do you really think that you're so proficient in what you're doing that you're not going to fail at it from time to time?
Yeah.
I mean, like, come on. Like really, dude. I don't get me wrong. You know, the Bible tells you don't think too highly of yourself, right?
Right.
It didn't say don't think highly of yourself. It said don't think too highly of yourself.
Yeah.
So it's okay to think highly of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
but when you think too highly of yourself, this is when failures cause you to feel like a failure. And we've heard this. We drink from the same well. Failure is an event, not a person.
Right.
You know, I've come to realize that failure is nothing more than the response of information and activity that I put out. That's all it is. Failure is just a response to stuff that I put out in the atmosphere. So I put it out there, and then the return was this. Okay, so that lets me know I need to put something else out.
Yeah.
So I remember when I was a kid, let me tell you this story. I remember when I was a kid, right? I used to see my great-granddad. I remember my great-granddad, he was such a tall man, but I was like 4 or 5. And he would always give me watermelon in the backyard. We would sit back in the backyard. He would plant a garden and everything. And I would eat watermelon. And I would always take this because he was a gardener. He would go and he would, you know, he'd be planting the garden. He had a grape vineyard. He'd grow strawberries. And I would take this watermelon seed and I would plant it. And I never could grow watermelon. Never. But guess what? I would plant those seeds over and over and over until he's like, hey, you're messing up my grass, kid. You know, and I'm planting it, and I'm thinking like, okay, well, in my mind, okay, well, they're not growing over here. I need to plant them somewhere else. And I was adamant that there has to be somewhere that these seeds can and will grow. And guess what? I never asked the gardener that was right in front of me how to do it.
Wow. Wow.
The entire time I'm messing up his grass. I'm watching him do it. And my thing is that I'm trying to emulate what he's doing instead of just saying, Granddad, how do I do this?
Yeah.
Most of the time when we fail, it's because we see someone doing something, says, I want to do that. And we never humble ourselves enough to say, okay, I want to do that. How did you do it?
Wow. So here, folks. Oh man, I tell you, reading between the lines. Here's what he's saying. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta teach. I gotta
let's get it.
The lines, man. Because what he's saying is it's the law of significance, right? We hear it all the time. 1 is too small a number to achieve greatness. You have to then ask the person that's right in front of you. You don't have to go to Timbuktu, China to find somebody. Ask the person right in front of you who's planting seeds and growing things. How does it work?
How does it work? How does it work? Am I right? Look, let me tell you something. Most of the time, see, we think it's all about the seed. It's not. It's about the soil.
Right.
That's all it is. It's about the soil. You think that your seed is no good. So let me tell you something. You plant and it doesn't grow, and you think that what you have isn't good enough.
Right.
But bottom line is that, look. The seed doesn't have the nutrients. That's why they call it good soil. It's good soil because it has everything that the seed needs. So you put the seed inside the soil, and certain seed draws from.
Wait, Darryl, wait. I gotta put the PayPal link up here. They gotta pay for this. This is too good.
You know, but that's the reality, right?
Yeah.
So like when you put a certain seed in soil, it draws up. That's why when you plant orange seeds in different parts of the country, they're not as good as they are from Florida. Why? Because the soil in Florida gives the seed everything it needs. So listen to me, people. It is not the seed. It's where you're planting. And if you feel as though you're failing in where you're planting, find more nutrient-rich soil.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Because look, let me tell you something. This is what we learned. This is what we learned in our last virtual IMC. Was it the last virtual IMC? I'm not sure. But I don't lay claim to this quote, but it's something that I definitely live by, and it's something I understand. The seed cannot ignore the soil.
Mm.
Yeah. The seed can't ignore the soil. When your seed is placed in the correct soil, it doesn't have the ability to ignore all of the riches around it.
Wow.
It doesn't have that ability.
Wow.
So understand from that concept. Let me tell you something. I'll tell you my journey. I started my company. I didn't know anything about business. Here I am. I was a hostage negotiator. I was a defensive tactics, physical fitness instructor. I instructed all of these different things. And I'm going to insurance companies, real estate companies, said, hey, let me teach you how to team build. Let me teach you this. Let me teach you that. And they're like, no. And I was getting shot down, man. Oh my God. I felt like a pork chop in Jerusalem. Ain't nobody on me. You know, like man, dude, I felt like, oh my God, this is just so bad, right? It was horrible, man. I'm like, I can't get it anywhere. Guess what? I turned it to law enforcement. Why? Because they're my seed. There was my riches. It wasn't the material that I had that was no good. It was where I was planting it. And when I planted that seed into the law enforcement community, within 1 year, my company went national.
Wow.
Within 1 year.
Wow. So, folks, here's what he is saying. I feel like the guy on Sanford and Son, right? You say it this way, then I got to help break it down for the people, right?
Right.
I got to put it at the lowest. See, I'm from Louisiana, so we're a little bit slow. So I got to put it at the lowest. So here's the thing, folks. He's saying if this company don't buy from you, there's another company that will buy from you. If that company don't buy from you, there's another company out there that'll buy from you. If this customer doesn't want to be in your mastermind, there's another customer that might want to be in your mastermind. If there's one customer that don't want to be in your AP program or buy your journal or buy your book or buy whatever, there's somebody else that will. You just need to go to that, find that person.
Find them. And let me tell you something. Once you find enough of them, they will begin to find you.
Yes.
It's not a brag. I haven't made a cold call in over 4 years.
Look at that.
I just planted. Look. This is what I know. It's over 400 million people in America right now?
Mm-hmm.
400 million. If you 0.01% of the people in this country to do business with you, you will be very well off.
Yes.
Less than 1%. Less than 1% of the people. Less than 1%. And I think that we're thinking like, oh, we're thinking scarcity. You're thinking, oh, well, it's not enough business to go around. It's not enough this. It's not enough that. Oh my God, it's so much out here. It's so much out here.
Yes, the soil is very fertile and rich.
A lot of soil out here, man. Go out and sow seed. There's a tale about a person who went out and sowed seed.
Yes.
And as they were sowing seed, some fell on stony ground, some fell on some different kind of ground, some fell on good soil and all of this kind of stuff. And understand that every time you drop seed, some birds might come and pluck it up. Some might grow and the sun might scorch it out. Some, the roots don't go deep enough. But I tell you what, if you continue to sow seed, you will find good ground. And let me tell you something. When you do plant seed, you always reap more than you plant.
Yes, absolutely. Love this, man. This hour has just like boom, zoom by. So if you want to be able to reach Darryl, his email is up on the screen. His website is scrolling across the screen as well. You can reach him, folks. And let me tell you. So I'm gonna ask you one more question here, Darryl. If there was a book that was written about you, what would the name of the book be, and what would the summary in the back of the book say about you?
Wow. It's about a speech that I gave at IMC, actually. If a book was written about me, it would be titled Riding a Bike for the First Time at 30.
Yes, I remember that.
And the reason why is because I was 30 years old when I learned how to ride a bike. It won't be specifically about that journey. It will be founded in that. There's so many things that we carry into our adulthood that we never fixed in our younger years, and they affect us. And sometimes we're so prideful. We have our egos, or we don't want the embarrassment of saying, I don't know how to do that, or you know what, that wasn't part of my childhood, or I don't know. I was teaching a class today and I say, you know what, I'm from Detroit. Every time I try to say the word ask, it sounds like I'm saying axe. So I overpronounce it, ask, and I have to do that all the time. And it got to the point, Cedrick, where I stopped using the word. I start saying inquire. When you request, when you pose a question to a person, I would stay away from that word so much. And I just came to the grips, man, I am who the heck I am. And if I say ask the wrong way, then, oh well, you know exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, because you go home in the hood and you say, oh well, I want to inquire about this. They're gonna be like, yeah. What?
I want to inquire about what happened to the dude you used to be, right? So in understanding that, right?
Yes.
It would pretty much, the summary would be, there I was, man. My life was altered. A lot of things changed about my life because I didn't know how to ride a bike. My childhood was altered as a teenager when my friends were like, hey, let's go bike ride. And I'm like, no, I missed out on a lot of different things because I wouldn't ask anyone to teach me to ride a bike. And my 5-year-old daughter, she wanted a bike for her birthday. And I went out. I was living in Arizona. I bought a bike. I drove out to the desert. And for 3 days, I fell on that hot ground. It was burning the out of me every time I hit it. And I got up so quick and I had burn marks and cacti, sticks, and all kind of stuff like that because I said, I have to learn how to do this in order to teach her. I won't deny her an experience because I didn't have some particulars in my life. And I learned I taught myself how to ride a bike in 3 days.
Wow.
And then I came back and I taught my daughter how to ride hers. Wow. It's so much in that.
Yeah.
So much in that because the world requires, and the world is begging so much of us. And because we've had missed opportunities, we've had unfulfilled desires, we've had things that we know that we can possibly and potentially do that we just sit back and do it because we might not have all the information or tools at that time. And the world is saying, go get that and bring it back to us and we will make you rich. We will give you what you want. We'll give you what you desire. We will surround you with all of the freedom that you truly want if you just go out there and ride your bike.
Yes.
Just don't be ashamed of it. Just go ride your bike. You're going to fall.
Yes.
Know that. It's going to hurt. Know that. But you're going to get up. And guess what? It's only going to be 3 days.
Yeah.
It's absolutely. Not
gonna be forever. I love it, Pastor. Woo, man. This has been an awesome show, brother. I knew when we were talking at the beginning of the show that you were talking about, well, we would have my one word answers. I knew it was going to be a great show.
Right.
And you're right, we didn't get through all the questions, but
right on. I kind of feel like now we're gonna get through that.
It has been an awesome show, brother. I am so glad you accepted my my invite. Cheryl Edwards Gray say, I needed that message.
Right on, right on.
And, this has been awesome. Thank you very much for coming on. And Darryl's information is scrolling across the screen if you want to reach out to him. The brother is doing some wonderful things in the leadership development space. One of my good friends, Darryl, is on here, Deacon Ray Lee, out of Florida, and he's a soil man. So talking about understanding soil and all right here. So he loved what you're talking about, the seed and the soil. But I want to say thank you again for coming on the show. Hopefully everyone got something from it. We'll replay this again, tonight and tomorrow and all this type of stuff. Tag somebody on it, right? There's a whole lot of lessons that Darryl put in here, golden nuggets that you can take out of your life, whether it's in your personal life, your business life, in your in your corporate life, whatever. There's a lot of nuggets he put here, right? Now, don't miss the part, where he said it was his money and his wife came home.
Why you gotta bring up all those stuff? Look at that. Oh man.
Oh, but thank you guys very much. And remember, folks, as I tell you, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, and don't be on the menu. Thank you guys, and good night.